Hello and welcome to today's Oil for the Journey oil change. And this is based on the text that we read from Exodus chapters 30 through 33. So let's delve right in. First, just a little of the setting and context. The Israelites are being led to the promised land by their leader, Moses. And the Israelites are far from compliant, far from grateful, dare I say, of what the Lord has done for them in taking them from the bondage of slavery in Egypt. Moses faced a lot from these people on the way. They complained about his leadership. They complained about the food they were getting. It was just crazy. And here we are at chapters 30 to 31, which is a continuation for how God wanted them to consecrate themselves, in essence, how to worship themselves. And consecrate is just really a big word for making themselves ready, prepared, and useful for the Lord's service. So God is journeying these group of people by a promise that he gave their forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to the promised land. And in journeying these people, they are being prepared for him and set apart by him. And by that I mean they're going to look different. They're going to be a holy nation, as God had promised a few chapters back, 25 or 26. And they're going to be worshiping only one God, monotheism here. And their surrounding pagan nations are all polytheistic, and they all worship idols, images carved in stone or wood or made from metal to worship. And so God is preparing them. So here we are, chapters 30 and 31, where God gives specific detail as to how these people should make the altar that he's to be worshipped at, and how they are to make the incense that they are to burn for worship. Incidentally, this is where the Eastern Orthodox denomination of the Christian faith get their burning of incense and walking around. You see the priests walking around with incense like this and like this. That's where they get it from. But anyway, so God is just very detailed as to how he is to be worshiped and how they are to live. Why? Because God is holy. He is a holy God, sinless God, and he wants to prepare them for the promise that he has, the promised land. So 30 and 31 is those contexts. 32 and 33 really go again into how this ungrateful bunch of people, and include ourselves too, just stray away from God. They couldn't wait on Moses anymore and basically forgot about Moses, who was up getting the law from the Lord written down on the tablets for them. And long story short, they built a golden calf, an image, and start to worship it and dance and party and have a very lascivious and revelrous lifestyle, enjoying themselves at the expense of the one who saved them from slavery. Now, how heartbreaking is that? And so God basically tells Moses, you know what, I'm gonna get rid of all these people because they're just too trifling for me. And Moses goes as a mediator, a little foreshadowing going here, as a mediator to God, and says, God, remember your promise. Please don't kill these people. Remember, you said you're going to take them to the promised land. Please don't kill these people. And then Moses further said, if you kill them, then the Egyptians will just think you're evil because, you brought them out from Egypt, out from slavery, only to kill them here. So please don't kill them. And basically God acquiesces and does not kill the Israelites, doesn't kill them off. And although Moses does in, I think, chapter 33, a little bit of cleansing himself, and certain people were killed by the hands of their brothers and sisters, and basically those are the ones that didn't answer when Moses said, how many you are ready to follow Yahweh, and some answered and some did not. So Moses had the ones that answered go and kill off the ones that didn't answer. So, I mean, this all may seem harsh, but remember, this is prior to Christ, and the grace that came about from Christ, that even while we were sinners, Christ died. And the important thing about Moses' mediation here is it foreshadows is Jesus' mediation, because the Israelites were totally undeserving, but God, in his great love and mercy, still extended to them his presence as they journeyed to the promised land, his favor in that he said that he would protect them from the Jebusites and the Hittites and the Amorites and Canaanites, all the people that resided in the promised land area. So, and he gave to them, of course, his love in providing for them daily their food and their shelter. All he asked was to be worshiped, and worshiped alone, with no other gods. That's the first commandment. I'm the Lord your God. You should have no other gods before me. So I say all this to say in our application to remember the reason why Jesus is here, Jesus as our mediator for our sins, because we are a sinful people. We still do not deserve anything, any goodness that we experience here on this earth. Every single speck of goodness you experience, every single speck of provision that you experience in life is because of the goodness of God, and that he loves you, and loves you so much that he's not even going to get rid of you. He's going to allow you to continue even in your sinful nature and still be with you and still bless you. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't face consequences for our sins, because we sure do. To this day, we sure do. And those people did as well, the Israelites during Moses' time. But even despite the consequences, God is still merciful in that we don't experience the consequences to the great degree we should experience them. Kind of like a parent who has mercy on a child that's disobedient, and instead of punishing them severely, they're merciful and, punishes them, but not as severe as they could have, or not as severe as the infraction entailed. So as we go on our journeys today, just remember the goodness of God, the love of God for us who are sinners, and remember to understand that he's a holy God. So all that he requires of us are ways that we, in and of ourselves, identify with his holiness. By obeying his word, his laws, his precepts, we are identifying with God's holiness and pleasing God as a result. So, grace and peace to you, my brothers and sisters, for listening to today's Oil for the Journey Oil Change.